The Minnesota Vikings and the New York Football Giants played a couple weeks ago on Christmas Eve, U.S. Bank Stadium, winter whiteout, which will be the scene of them getting it on Wild Card Weekend on late Sunday afternoon. Now, I thought that it was pretty good. I mean, I'm not a big gimmick person, but I thought that this was interesting by the marketing department. I think that the fans really leaned into it, even though you saw a couple Vikings fans just wearing black. Got him. Also, a couple Giants fans. In fact, the Giants team got off the bus and were in black. It's kind of funny. Anyways, but I think it was a lot of fun. I think that the Vikings were loud and proud. I think the Vikings got themselves a very nice win. Remember, that was the game that Greg Joseph kicked that one from the moon. Justin Jefferson had himself a ball game as well. And it was good vibes all the way around. Even though the Giants, we respect them as a football team. They're going to come in pissed off. They're going to come in motivated. They obviously want to avenge that loss, but the Vikings, they handled them at home before, and hopefully they'll do it again. But, of course, what would be a football game without some bulletin board material? So this is from Jordan Renan, who is the ESPN writer for blah, blah, blah. I think he covers New York. Whatever. But the Giants excited by Vikings rematch. Thought first game would be louder. So he goes in. Now, he interviews Saquon, or he lists Saquon's quotes first. Now, Saquon's very respectful, talking about how he's just excited to get into the playoffs and compete. Fully understand and respect that. But it goes into a quote from center Nick Gates. All right, so here's what they wrote. The Giants 9-7-1 believed that they could have won in Minnesota the first time around, but they didn't. Offensive lineman Nick Gates, who is their starting center, said if they had played a clean game, it would have been a different story. Gates also wasn't blown away by the atmosphere at U.S. Bank Stadium. Surprised, actually. I thought it would be a lot louder, Gates said. I thought especially when our offense is out there, they would be a lot out there. But they're Midwest people. They're too nice. I can say it because I went to Nebraska. I include myself in that one. So the whole Minnesotan Midwestern stiff upper lip, not showing your emotion, be like, oh yeah, go you hosers, go. Yeah, just fantastic. By the way, the Vikings 13-4 went 8-1 at home this season. The only blemish was the alleged loss to the Cowboys. So I mean that's important to note. Now, let's get into Nick Gates. Now, part of me just wants to insult Nick Gates, but we don't do that, right? And Nick Gates, it was more of a. Actually, I was trying to frame it as like a backhanded compliment. It wasn't that. Like, it was a straight up insult of the loudness and the commitment of Minnesota Vikings fans building that atmosphere. But it doesn't matter. But Nick Gates. So Nick Gates, he said, oh, I can talk bad about Midwestern people because I went to Nebraska. By the way, Nick Gates playing at Nebraska would know something about quiet crowds. Lincoln hasn't had a full stadium since, I don't know, 20 years ago. Hey, remember Tom Osborne? Awesome. But, I mean, he does not get to count himself as Midwestern because he was born in Vegas. He went to high school at Bishop Gorman in Vegas, and they just went to Nebraska on a whim. It's like, also, how would you like to go from Vegas to Nebraska? That's the route. Fantastic. But I respect Nick Gates. Like, he worked his way up from a UDFA, became a team captain, came back from a horrific injury last season, playing well this year. Cool. Respect. Awesome. But you got to mess with the fans. You got to mess with the U.S. Bank Stadium fans, right? And U.S. Bank Stadium was ranked as the 7th loudest stadium in the league. I think that should be a little bit low, but apparently they're cranking out 120.1 decibels, which, I don't know, it's kind of loud. I don't really have a frame of reference. It's sort of like Scoville scale. Hey, this pepper sauce is 10 million or 10 billion on the Scoville scale. I don't know. Is that good? I don't know. Like, what's more, like $5 or 10 million yen? I don't know. I probably should know since I'm Japanese. Anyways, but yeah, Nick Gates calling out, he's just asking for it, man. He is, where he's just like, oh, those Minnesotans, they're not very loud at all, don't you know? Yeah, I don't know why Nick Gates has a Minnesotan accent. Doesn't matter. But I mean, he's the one who's going to be directly affected because Nick Gates is the center. So Nick Gates, all of a sudden, if he pulls a Chris Reed and doesn't snap the ball on count on cadence as Daniel Jones goes silent count, if he has a couple holy rollers or snaps it while Daniel Jones ain't looking, hey, that's on him, man. That's on him because, yes, I mean, there was a playoff atmosphere on Christmas Eve. I mean, people were breathing in the moment. Plus, it was a Saturday game. It was a standalone game. It was pretty exciting. But if he thinks that was quiet, he ain't seen nothing yet. It's the playoffs, playa. That's right. So I think that this is going to be repeated ad nauseum in the media. I think Kevin O'Connell, I'm sure, will talk about it. I think the players will talk about it as well. And I think that it could be a long-ass day for Nick Gates. Hey, Harrison Phillips, Diesel Dalvin Tomlinson, throw this guy out the club. That's right. And fans, Vikings fans, be loud as hell. Like 120.1 decibels, we could get a little bit louder. That's right. 135.1. I want ears bleeding. Metaphorically. Like, I don't want anyone's ears to bleed. But, hey, Nick Gates, you asked for this, bro. You asked for this. Hey, just wait until you and Daniel Jones, don't worry about it, will get 3rd and forever, 3rd and 14, deep in your own territory. Don't worry. Don't worry. Something's coming. Something's coming, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. The Giants Jabroni Center insults Vikings fans. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.